Well, we're in Brazil and we're here today to talk about how we got this extension. So later in this video, we're actually going to try to figure out, is it possible to get a permanent residency instead of the extension? And what do you need to do to get that extension? So stay tuned. Surprise! You probably think I wake up in the jungle every day, but that's just not the case. Sometimes I'm in one of those really nice Airbnbs like this one. So when you travel, actually, one of the biggest things what we do is we stay in a lot of Airbnbs all the time. Now that's important because people sometimes think we sleep in the jungle or something like that. But that's just not true. We have luxury too. Need some time in the bathroom to get ready. Ready for action. So, well, we're in Brazil, and what's important right now is how we're gonna get the extension. There you are, guys. That's right. We are trying to figure out if we can still get an extension for our time in Brazil. In the process of trying to do that, we figured out many different things. Most of all, there's a way to get a permanent residency in Brazil. So guys, in our story, we made it back to Porto Seguro. We stayed at Solar de Imperador, a beautiful hotel. And this is where we made our plans in order to get ready for the extension of our stay in Brazil. We got 3 months when we entered Brazil, and now we wanted to make sure to extend another 3 months. Our friends Augusto and Robert from Barra Grande, they told us it would be easy. We just go to the office of the Polícia Federal and we ask for an extension because we wanted to look for land and maybe buy property in Brazil. Or maybe we would just go ahead and say we really enjoy it here and they will definitely give us another 3 months. Now the problem is, the first time we tried that, we talked to somebody from Polícia Federal and told them our situation, and they really didn't like that at all. So now in our fancy new hotel, we kind of tried to come up with some new cool plans, but we really didn't know what to do. Now there was this really great guy, his name is Cido, and we met him and his family the last time when we were in Porto Seguro. His wife has a nail salon, and Alexandra and maybe even me had to go there to get our nails cut and trimmed. And so that's why we came across them, started talking with them, and they were super excited about our adventure. So this time around, when we came back to Porto Seguro, we met up with them again. We told Cido about our situation, and he said he would come with us to the Polícia Federal and help us with getting that extension. We drove with Cido to get to Polícia Federal. First we said, we want to do, stay in the country because we want to get some property. And the person there, it was a woman, she said, no, that's impossible. So we thought really hard and realized we had a flight that we couldn't take months earlier, absolutely not connected to our current situation. But, because of what's happening in the world, she's like, there you go, a flight canceled because of the catastrophe of the world right now. And we said, yeah, it's pretty sad. We were kind of happy that the flight was canceled because we didn't want to take it in the first place. But that was a perfect reason to get an extension. Yes, it all worked out. After maybe a half an hour to an hour in that office, they told us we would get the extension and it was ready to celebrate. It turned out that there's other options of why you would get an extension of being able to stay in Brazil. One of them is to apply for some kind of language learning visa. Basically, this is kind of a study visa, and a lot of places in Brazil offer that option. Another option is the newly found digital nomads visa. It is also for just 1 year at the beginning, but you can always extend it to a second and maybe even a third year. For us at the moment, this was not a good option. We were just happy with our 3 months extension, so we went out and celebrated that for now. And what else is a better way to celebrate than to team up with a 60, 70-year-old couple and go onto a fazenda in the middle of nowhere and then just hang out and look at the birds. The fazenda I'm talking about is Petrolina 8 in Aracaju. And our beautiful hosts are Wolfgang and Izabel. It's a German-Brazilian couple. And these two guys are just wonderful. We had our best times with them. Petrolina 8 is in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by amazing mountains. We did some amazing things at this Petrolina 8 fazenda. We were actually going hiking. Isabel is very knowledgeable about all these places, and she told us how the cacao farm is working. She planted a cacao plant with us, and then also told us how to drink water out of a stream and showed us her beautiful place. Here I am. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, we are here at this crazy mountains. They look a little bit like the Sugarloaf Mountain in Rio. Well, if you ask me, it's not quite mountains that we're looking at, but what is your thought about that? Like, what are you seeing when you look at these tall giants in the back, right? And one would wonder what all this looked like a few thousand years ago, just a few thousand years ago. And it's probably a whole different world that we can't even imagine. But we're on this farm right here. It took us about almost an hour off-roading to get here. And before that, we had to drive 2 hours from the ocean to get here. So this is quite something. This is a cacao farm. And then we have some other farms down here. And yeah, these are the people we're here with. And it's quite generous of them to show us their place. We can stay overnight, maybe 1, maybe 2 nights. We don't know yet, but quite something. Brazil, what a place. Our time at Fazenda Petrolina 8 was coming to an end, and because we have our new 3 months in Brazil, we decided to go further up north. But before that, we were introduced to Dúlio. He is a Portuguese businessman. Dúlio has a huge property and he wants a drone video from us. And it was not just a single little tiny drone video, no. His place is literally 10 kilometers long. And we had to film 5, 6, 7 drone shots at a time. We stayed there for 4 days. We had a blast filming for him, and we made sure that his property is definitely presented extremely nicely. What he's trying to do is he's in Belmonte, and he wanted to make sure that Belmonte gets revived and there's a new kind of trend of people coming there. Especially he wanted to build some housing options for some retired people, and he wanted to make sure that the whole area just gets a new touch. Dúlio made sure that we got taken care of really well. There was Alan and his father, Luis, and both of them every day made sure that we had a good time. They invited us for lunch or dinner, and we could stay in a hotel for free of charge. So Dúlio decided to build a paradise for retired people. And that is just the right gateway for us to talk about residency. Retirement income is one of the best and easiest way for you to get residency in Brazil. If you are qualifying for it, you need to have at least $2,000 retirement income. If you do, you can get yourself a permanent residency in Brazil. One of the most popular one is residency by purchase of real estate. The real estate residency option depends on what kind of state in Brazil you want to live in. If you stay further in the north, these are so-called cheaper states, or if you stay further in the south, where it's actually more expensive. Now in the north, you can spend around 130,000 US dollars on real estate and you get a permanent residency. In the south, it can go up to 190,000 US dollars. Another option for you to get permanent residency is to open a business or to buy a business. Now, buying a business is easier, but can also be more pricey. If you buy a business around 100,000 US dollars, you get the residency right away and there is no additional requirements to that. Now, if you want to invest less money, around 30,000 US dollars, you can also get a business residency, but then you have additional requirements. You need to make sure to create a really good, solid business plan that will explain how in the next couple of years you will be able to make do with the money that you make out of this business. And you need to employ up to 10 people. Just to mention it, there's always one other option to actually get your permanent residency, and that is through marriage or through having children in Brazil. Even if you're not Brazilian or married to somebody who's from Brazil, if you have a baby while you are in Brazil, this baby will automatically get citizenship of Brazil and its parents can apply for permanent residency. So there is always some ways to make it work, and Brazil, as in many other South American or Latin American countries, sometimes has some gray zones. Now, we figured out that there is some other people who mentioned concepts of residencies that are also possible and work out well for them. I don't want to go too much into detail with that right now, but I can tell you, if you're interested, just book a free coaching call with me and we can talk a little bit more about these rather cheaper options to get yourself a permanent residency in Brazil. Now, to conclude our time in Belmonte, Alan had a surprise for us. He invited us for a boat ride between the mangroves of Belmonte and Canavieras. Now, for those of you who watched the previous episodes, we spent a long time in Canavieras, and Canavieras is just north of Belmonte. The interesting thing about Belmonte and Canavieras is that there is no road that connects these two cities, even though they're literally just a few kilometers away from each other. The best way and the fastest way to connect these two cities is with a boat ride, similar to what we did. You don't have to cruise through all of those mangroves, but it's a lot of fun. So, strengthened with these new adventures, we continued our journey further up north. This time we thought we're gonna explore all of Brazil with those extra 3 months that we have. On our way north, we wanted to make sure to go to the capital of Bahia, Salvador. We had to make our way through the jungle and we stayed at this beautiful hotel with this little waterfall attached to it. Further up north, there's these beautiful shots of us in Salvador, which is a very interesting city, but some people try to avoid it altogether. It has a great old town though, so check it out if you can. And then, for my birthday, we were able to stay at the beaches just north of Salvador. Alexandra invited me for a beautiful fancy hotel, and then we had some nice walks and some swims in the ocean, and I got that birthday cake.
Happy birthday, baby.
Thank you. Our next stop was in Aracaju. We decided to take a longer Airbnb break there. Just like this place, we stayed for 3 weeks in Aracaju. And what do we do in a place like this? Well, we relax, sometimes adventures can be stressful, but we also concentrate on our work. We have our coaching calls with our clients, but we also make new videos just like this one. We also made sure to kind of plan the future and kind of think about what else we wanted to do in Brazil, because we kind of had no clue. But one thing was for sure, we wanted to see more nature. And that's why in the next episode, you will see some fascinating shots of a natural reserve in Bahia, Chapada Diamantina. Lots of caves and beautiful cliffs and waterfalls. But that's it for now, so go ahead and subscribe to this channel right here and then check out this next episode right here.